The morning commute is something of a sacred thing in Japan, emblematic of a culture that holds punctuality and adherence to rules in high regard. However, in 1990, a tragic and avoidable event shocked the nation and brought into question the strict expectations placed upon students at the time. On the morning of July 6, 1990, on the outskirts of Kobe, Japan, 15-year-old Ryōko Ishida found herself running late for school, alongside a friend, unnamed in later reports, referred to as Girl A. After connecting by bus, she went by train to Seishin Chuo Station, arriving at 8:17, one train later than she normally would have taken. From the station, she began the 15-minute walk to Takatsuka High School, along the designated route for students, along which were two teachers with megaphones counting down the time until the morning bell would ring and hurrying students along. Takatsuka High School had a reputation for strict rules, but above all else, students were expected to arrive early and be past the school gate before the bell rang at 8:30. Late students were made to run 2 laps around the field, then do squats until teachers were satisfied that they had learned their lesson before they were allowed to head to class. A third teacher, 39-year-old Toshihiko Hosoi, waited at the gate, counting down the seconds before the 8:30 bell, at which time the gate would be closed so that disciplinary action could be doled out to tardy students. Hosoi was known for being hot-tempered and for harshly enforcing rules. This is attributed to his time at a previous school, which was claimed to be plagued with unruly students. He was a man of strength and large stature, which is thought to be why he somewhat regularly was in charge of closing the gate. The gate in question was about 6 meters long and 1.5 meters high, weighing 1/4 of a ton or 230 kilograms. The metal gate slid along rails and took considerable strength to close. At 8:30, as soon as the bell rang, he began to push the gate closed, determined not to let any more students through. A group of students ran up as they heard the bell, but stopped just before it when they saw the gate was already in motion. Ryōko and Girl A, seeing the students running, chased after them, hoping to make it before the gate was fully closed. In a last-ditch effort to make it onto school grounds, they split up and moved around the group. Girl A, realizing she wouldn't make it, stopped short of the gate. But Ryōko, still seeming to think she could squeeze through the gap between the concrete wall and the gate, tried to make herself as small as possible, leaning forward as she ran, and didn't slow down as she dashed toward the entrance. Ryoko's head was caught between the heavy gate and the concrete wall. An on-looking male student rushed over and tried to push the gate back to release Ryōko, who had collapsed and was convulsing on the ground. Believing that students were trying to open the gate and make it past to avoid punishment, Hosoi, not realizing what had happened, believed that the student was trying to open the gate to make it past and avoid punishment, reportedly calling him an idiot as he walked toward the end of the gate. Upon arriving, he would have seen Ryōko collapsed on the ground with blood coming out of her ears and mouth. She was brought by ambulance to Kobe University Hospital, and just under 2 hours after the gate was slammed on her, she died. The impact had crushed her skull, fatally injuring her brain. The school's response to one of their students dying on campus was appalling, to say the least. Despite the horrific event that happened on campus that morning, students were made to take their final exams as usual. Hosoi himself administered tests that day, responding to questions about Ryoko's condition with, "She's hurt, but it's not like it's anything life-threatening." When police arrived on the scene, called not by school officials but someone at the hospital, they found that the school had hosed down the pool of Ryoko's blood before they could conduct their investigation. The press quickly picked up the story, and it became nationwide news overnight. The very next day, an assembly was held and reporters were present. This was the message that Principal Atsuo Nomura gave the students of Takatsuka High School the day after their classmate had died.
せめて朝1人10分早く来てくれれば、先生方が大きな声で早く入ってきなさいと、遅刻はということがなくなるし、私は責任を転嫁するつもりはありません。しかし同時に諸君自身の今後の生活の基本的な見直しをぜひ一度考えてほしい。
The school and school board maintained that this was an issue between the teacher and student, and that the school was not to blame for her death. The investigation found that the force of the gate slamming into the concrete wall would have been enough to crush even a safety helmet. Charges of manslaughter due to his negligence were brought against Hosoi. He defended himself, saying that the school board and Department of Education were at fault for lack of a proper safety procedure, and that he couldn't possibly have foreseen that a student would try and make it through the gap before he had fully closed the gate. According to testimonies, students' bags and skirts of their uniforms had been caught in the gate while closing it in the past, proving to the court that he knew of the dangers presented by slamming the gate shut in front of students. The court found Hosoi guilty of manslaughter and sentenced him to 3 years of probation. As a result, he lost his teacher's license. Hosoi would go on to write a book about his story, of how he was expected to conduct police-like enforcement of rules, to combat rising levels of delinquency by the school board. Additionally, a civil suit was brought against the prefectural government, which was settled on November 16, 1990, with a payment to the family of 60 million yen for the loss of their child. Ryoko's tragic and unnecessary death sparked a debate in Japan around the rules imposed on students. Nowadays, stories about schools with ridiculous rules and practices still abound, though definitely less so as time goes on. The gate at Takatsuka High School, where Ryōko Ishida died, has since been replaced with a smaller, shorter one. And to this day, a group made up of her family, teachers, and classmates regularly meet at the spot where Ryōko lost her life, on July 6, 1990.
事故を聞いて
腹立ちますね。
腹立つ。
腹立ちますね、あんな。
どういうこと？
あれはね、絶対殺されたんですよ。あれとか、だから先生に、あんな見えへんわけないでしょ、お事故のわけもないでしょ、ふざけないでよね、バカと言いたくなりません？